come closer, because this story, if I didn't hear it from somebody that was there, I would have said, I beg, stop lying. Because tell me why a person can spend years building everybody's life, only for those same people to act like he never mattered the moment they think the money has stopped coming. See, family matter can humble somebody. Anyway, let me not jump ahead of myself. This story is about a young man called Chike. Now, Chike wasn't rich. He wasn't one of those boys spraying money in clubs every weekend. He wasn't driving one expensive car that could pay somebody's house rent for 2 years. No, Chike was just normal. But if there was one thing this guy had, it was talent. This boy could cut hair. See, if Chike touched your hair, just know you will leave that shop looking like somebody whose destiny had been upgraded. I'm serious. There were customers who would enter looking stressed because of NEPA bill and Nigeria economy, and somehow leave smiling at themselves in the mirror. Even people that didn't have confidence before would suddenly start taking selfies. That was Chike for you. Now, don't imagine one big luxury salon. Nothing like that. The shop itself was small. One standing fan that worked whenever it remembered its purpose in life. 3 plastic chairs. 1 mirror that had seen things. And a speaker that had survived enough power outages to deserve an award. But somehow, that small shop had life. People would come in for haircuts and end up staying to gist. One person was discussing football. Another person was arguing about politics. Somebody else was complaining about fuel price. You know, normal Nigerian survival meeting. And in the middle of all that noise, there was Chike. Focused, patient, always smiling, always trying his best. Because to him, it wasn't just haircuts. It was his dream. He wanted something bigger for himself. Something beyond surviving from Monday to Saturday. Now, here's where things started getting interesting. Chike had a very good heart. Too good, if you ask me. Because anytime anybody in the family had a problem, guess who they called? Chike. School fees? Chike. Hospital bill? Chike. Contribution for burial? Chike. Emergency money? Chike. At one point, if somebody sneezed too loudly in that family, I was expecting them to call Chike. And because he loved them, he always found a way, even when he barely had enough for himself. One afternoon, business was moving well. Customers were coming in. People were laughing. Chike was halfway through one clean haircut when his phone started ringing. He checked the screen. Mommy. He sighed. Not because he didn't love his mother. No. But because somehow, phone calls from home rarely ended with, "How are you doing?" It was usually, "Chike, I need your help." Now, helping family isn't bad. Please don't misunderstand me. If God blesses you and you can support your people, that's a beautiful thing. The problem starts when helping becomes an expectation, when appreciation disappears, when your kindness becomes an obligation. But Chike wasn't thinking about all that. He just kept working, helping, giving, believing that one day things would get easier. Little did he know, life was preparing a lesson for him that money could never teach. Fast forward to the next day. The shop was busy as usual. Customers talking, clippers buzzing, football arguments flying around. Then somebody walked in, and somehow the atmosphere shifted. The man wasn't loud. He wasn't trying to impress anybody. But You know those people that enter a place and everybody suddenly notices them? That kind of person. Well dressed, calm, composed. He sat quietly and waited for his turn. No complaints, no special treatment, nothing. Eventually, Chike called him over. As usual, he got to work. And if there was one thing Chike knew how to do, it was giving his absolute best. He paid attention to every detail, made adjustments, stepped back to observe, then continued. Meanwhile, the man kept watching him through the mirror. Not just the haircut, the discipline, the professionalism, the passion. Finally, Chike was done. He dusted off the customer's shoulders, handed him the mirror. The man looked at himself, nodded slowly, then turned to Chike. For a few seconds, he said nothing. And honestly, even Chike started wondering if something had gone wrong.
Then the man asked, "How long have you been doing this?" Chike smiled. "Several years, sir." The man looked around the small shop. This small shop was all he knew. This was where his dreams lived, where his responsibilities lived, where his entire world existed. The man reached into his pocket, pulled out a business card, placed it gently on the counter, then said something Chike would never forget. Talent like yours shouldn't remain hidden. And with that, he stood up and left. Just like that. No long speech. No dramatic music. Nothing. Leaving Chike standing there, staring at one small business card with questions running through his mind. Questions that would eventually change everything. Because sometimes, the opportunities that transform our lives don't arrive with announcements. Sometimes, they walk into our ordinary Tuesday afternoon. And before you know it, nothing remains the same. And Chike, he had absolutely no idea that accepting that opportunity would take him far away from home, bring him success beyond his imagination, and eventually force him to ask one painful question. Did the people he loved actually love him back? Or did they only love what he could do for them? This story is just...
So, remember that business card Chike was just staring at like that? Let me tell you something. That small card was the beginning of everything that was about to change his life. But at that moment, Chike didn't even know whether to be excited or confused. He was just there, holding it, turning it left and right, like someone that just found mystery inside mystery. Because honestly, how does a simple barber from Onitsha just wake up one day and somebody is talking about bigger stage? Where exactly is that bigger stage? Hollywood? Lagos Island? Or is it one motivational speaker package? Anyway, few days passed. Chike couldn't stop thinking about it. He would be cutting hair and suddenly his mind would drift. He would be talking to customers and still thinking about it. Even at night, when he finally closed shop, that card was just there on his table like a silent reminder. Now, here's where life did something funny. One evening, he decided to call the number on the card. Small fear was inside him, but curiosity won. The phone rang. Once, twice, and then someone picked. A calm voice answered. And just like that, Chike's life shifted.
Not dramatically, not with noise, but quietly. Like a door opening slowly. Fast forward small, and Chike found himself on a pin. Chike, from Onitsha barber shop, inside airplane, sitting like somebody that is still waiting to wake up from dream. You know that feeling when everything is happening too fast and your brain is still at home? That was him.
Europe wasn't what he imagined. Let me just say it like it is. It humbled him. Very fast. Very, very fast. The first called morning alone? Chike stood outside and was just blinking like, is this place using freezer as weather? No familiar faces. No noise of Nigerian streets. No customers shouting, reduce my beard. Nothing. Just silence and cold. The first few weeks were hard. Chike struggled. He worked in small places first. Cleaning, assisting, learning. Sometimes standing for hours without proper rest. Sometimes eating once a day and pretending it's normal. But Chike didn't complain too much. Because in his mind, this was the price of something bigger. Then one day, things started changing. People began noticing his work again. Same hands, same skill. Just different environment. Clients started coming. Recommendations started spreading. And slowly, very slowly, Chike began rising. Not overnight success. Not movie magic. Just steady growth. But here is the part nobody tells you. When money starts coming in, pressure also starts changing shape. Because the first call from home came, then the second, then the third. Then it stopped being, how are you? And became, we need. Send something. There's emergency. You are our hope.
At first, Chike didn't mind. In fact, he felt proud. Like, I'm finally useful. He started sending money. Little by little. School fees, family issues, small help. He was doing it gladly. Because in his mind, he was building something for everyone, not just himself. But slowly, something shifted. Calls became more frequent. Requests became heavier. Expectations became louder. And appreciation started reducing until it almost disappeared. Chike would finish long working days in Europe, sit alone in his small space, and just stare at his phone. Sometimes he would smile small. Sometimes he would just breathe out deeply. Because somehow, the more he gave, the more they needed. One night, he sat down after work, tired, very tired. The kind of tired where your body is awake. He opened his phone, scrolled through messages, and just paused. Because for a moment, he realized something. He was building a life for people who were slowly starting to forget the person building it. But Chike didn't say anything yet. He just kept quiet. Because
Because when you are far from home, you don't always understand what is happening clearly. You just feel it. And while Chike was busy surviving abroad, back home in Nigeria, things were changing too. But not in a way he expected. Not at all. Because sometimes, success doesn't just change your life. It changes how people see your existence. And Chike, he was about to find out the hard way. But the real turning point was still coming. And it was going to start from one simple moment that looked completely harmless.
As time went on, Chike became more comfortable in Europe. Work was moving well. Customers were increasing. For the first time in years, this guy wasn't constantly worrying about his next meal. And honestly, he deserved it. Because Chike suffered before getting to this point. But my dear, that's when another problem started. At first, the request from home still made sense. Mommy needs money for hospital checkup. He sent it. Your younger cousin's school fees are due. He sent it. Your sister has found a good shop space for business. He sent it too. Because that's Chike. If he has it, he gives. Then, one Saturday morning, Chike had just resumed work when his phone rang. Mommy calling. He picked immediately. My son, good morning, no. Morning, mommy. Is everything okay? Everything is fine. But your sister said she likes one phone she saw yesterday. The one she has is already old. Chike paused. Old? Wasn't it the same phone he bought for her less than a year ago? Still, he laughed it off. Okay, mommy, we'll see. He ended the call and continued walking. A few days later, another call. Chike, your uncle wants to start a business. If you support him now, he will stand on his feet. Chike sent money. Then another one. Chike, your cousin's wedding contribution. Then another. Then another. Chike, they are contributing money in church. Then another. My son, your auntie's landlord is disturbing her. At this point, Chike's phone had become the Federal Ministry of Emergency Affairs. Even his colleagues started noticing. Your family calls you a lot. Chike would just smile. What can I do? They are my people. But deep down, he was getting tired. One evening after work, he got home exhausted. He hadn't even removed his shoes when his phone started ringing again. He looked at the screen, then looked away, then looked back. Finally, he answered. My son, have you sent the money? Chike blinked. Money for what? The one we discussed now. Honestly, Chike couldn't even remember which one they were talking about anymore. That's how many requests had entered his life. He sent something small and ended the call. Then he sat quietly on the edge of his bed. Because one thing was beginning to confuse him. Nobody ever called to say, Chike, how was work today? Nobody ever
Are you eating well? Nobody ever said, don't stress yourself too much. Every conversation somehow found its way back to money.
But Chike ignored the thoughts. No, don't think like that. After all, these were his people. Then one afternoon, during his lunch break, he opened Facebook. The first thing he saw was his mother's picture. Big smile, beautiful outfit, standing in front of the house he helped renovate. He smiled. Then he kept scrolling. His sister was at a birthday party. His cousin was spraying money at an event. Everybody looked happy. Again, Chike smiled. Then suddenly, he stopped. Because he realized something. He knew what everybody was doing. But nobody knew what he was going through. That same evening, his uncle called. Chike, we need urgent money. Uncle, things are a little tight this week. Silence. Then his uncle said something Chike wasn't expecting. So because you've traveled abroad, you've forgotten your family? Chike frowned. Uncle, that's not what I said. We all sacrificed for you. Don't disappoint us. After the call ended, Chike sat there for a long time. He replayed the conversation in his head. Then one question quietly entered his mind. Do they actually miss me? Or do they just miss the money? Immediately, he shook his head. No, don't think like that. But once that kind of question enters your mind, it doesn't leave easily. Over the next few weeks, Chike started noticing little things. The way calls became less friendly whenever money delayed. The way people suddenly remembered him whenever they needed something. The way thank you had slowly turned into expectation. One night, after another long day at work, Chike opened his laptop. He checked flight prices to Nigeria. Closed the laptop. Then opened it again. Because this thing had been bothering him for too long. He wasn't angry. He wasn't planning any drama. He just needed peace of mind. He needed answers. So quietly, without posting anything online, without informing anybody, Chike booked a flight home. And my dear, if Chike had known what was waiting for him in Nigeria, he probably would have prepared himself better. Because sometimes, the truth doesn't break your heart immediately. Sometimes, it waits patiently for you at home. The flight finally landed in Nigeria. As Chike stepped out of the airport with just one small suitcase, even he couldn't believe what he was about to do. Because, honestly, who tests their own family like this? But Chike needed answers. And sometimes, the only way to know if people truly love you is to remove the benefits. He didn't call anybody. No family group message. No surprise, I'm home. Nothing. He entered a taxi and headed straight home. As the taxi stopped in front of the family house, Chike looked at it quietly. The freshly painted walls, the renovated compound, the new gate. Little pieces of sacrifice standing proudly before him. Then he stepped out, small suitcase in hand.
The gate opened. "Mommy, Chike is back!" Immediately, everybody rushed outside. Mama Ifeoma was smiling from ear to ear. "My son! My son!" Then she noticed something. One suitcase. Just one. No cartons. No gift bags. No expensive luggage. The excitement on her face paused for a second.
Mom, it's so good to see you.
Then she
Uncle, welcome
forced
back.
another smile.
Wait, where is the rest of your luggage?
Mom, I can explain.
Chike,
One bag after all this time?
where are the other things? Chike lowered his eyes. "Mommy, I've lost everything." Everybody froze. The immigration issue got complicated. The business collapsed. I came back with only the suitcase. The compound became quiet. Very quiet. Then Mama Ifeoma hugged him. "Thank God you are alive." But Chike noticed it. The disappointment hiding behind the relief. For the first few days, everybody behaved normally. They welcomed him, asked if he needed food, even joked around with him. But little by little, things started changing. People kept asking questions. "So, are you sure they took everything? You didn't leave any savings somewhere? Maybe some money is still coming?" Each time, Chike shook his head. "No, everything is gone." By the second week, the atmosphere had changed completely. Ada stopped hanging around him. Uncle Emeka suddenly became too busy to chat. Even Mama Ifeoma's voice had lost its sweetness. Then, Chike decided to take the test one step further. One evening, he gathered everybody in the sitting room. "Mommy, Uncle, Ada, I need your help." Immediately, everybody became attentive. Hope returned to their faces. Maybe Chike had hidden money after all. "I've been thinking," Chike said quietly. "If I can get 200,000 naira, I can open a small barber shop again. Once I settle, I will pay everyone back." Silence. Real silence. The kind that makes you hear the ceiling fan. Then, Ada suddenly remembered something on her phone. Uncle Emeka cleared his throat. Finally, Mama Ifeoma spoke. "My son, things are difficult right now. Very difficult. Let's see what happens later." Chike nodded slowly. No argument, no begging, just observation. From that day, things got worse. The portions of food somehow became smaller. Conversation stopped whenever he entered a room. The people who once called him every day no longer had much to say. One night, Chike couldn't sleep. As he lay quietly, voices drifted from the sitting room. At first, he ignored them. Then he heard his name. He reached for his phone, opened the recorder, and listened. Mama Ifeoma's voice came first. "I don't understand why he's still here. If he cannot contribute, he should find something to do." Then Ada laughed softly. "Honestly, I thought he still had money hidden somewhere. If I knew this was the situation, I wouldn't have allowed him enter my room." Chike closed his eyes. Then came Uncle Emeka's voice. We've all tried our best. But we can't keep feeding a grown man that has nothing to offer. The words hit differently. Because this wasn't gossip from strangers. This was family. The next morning, everybody gathered for breakfast. Chike walked into the dining room calmly, phone in hand, suitcase beside him. He sat down, then pressed play. The room filled with their voices. I don't understand why he's still here. If he cannot contribute, we can't keep feeding. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Even the sound of spoons stopped. Ada's face lost color. Uncle Emeka adjusted himself nervously. Mama Ifeoma looked like the ground had disappeared beneath her feet.
My son, she whispered. We didn't mean it that way. Chike looked at all of them quietly. Then he smiled. Not out of happiness, but understanding. You know what hurts the most? He asked. It's not the words. It's realizing that all these years, I thought I was building a family. But maybe, he paused, I was only maintaining subscriptions. Nobody could look him in the eye. Then Chike stood up. There was no immigration problem. The entire room snapped up. What? Chike took a deep breath. My business is fine. The money is still there. I only came back to answer one question. He looked around the room. I wanted to know whether you loved me or the things I could do for you. Tears filled Mama Ifeoma's eyes. My son, please. But Chike gently raised his hand. Mommy, I have spent years helping this family, and I don't regret it. But I cannot continue pouring from a cup that nobody helps refill. He picked up his suitcase, then looked at Ada. I pray you never meet someone who treats you the way you've treated me. He turned to Uncle Emeka. And I hope one day you understand that people are more valuable than what they provide. Then he faced his mother. I will always be your son. But from today, things have to change. As Chike walked towards the gate, Mama Ifeoma broke down completely. Please don't leave angry. Chike stopped, turned back, and gave a small smile. I'm not leaving angry, Mommy. I'm leaving wiser. Outside, he entered the waiting taxi. As the car pulled away, Chike looked through the window at the house behind him. The same house he helped build. The same house that had taught him one of life's hardest lessons. You can love people,
support people, sacrifice for people, but never lose yourself trying to prove your worth to those who only value your usefulness. Because real love doesn't disappear when the gifts stop. Real family doesn't keep score. And sometimes, the greatest act of self-respect is learning when to close the ATM. And that's Chike's story. Tell me honestly, have you ever felt like people only remembered you when they needed something? Because if you have,
Just know this. Being kind is a beautiful thing. Just don't let kindness become permission for people to take advantage of you. And if this story touched your heart even a little, leave a heart in the comments. Because somewhere out there, someone is learning that they deserve to be loved for who they are, not just for what they can give.
Wait, before you go, I need you to tell me what you think about the story, and is there any way you want us to improve? Maybe my video, my voice, my images. Is there any way you want me to improve? Tell me in the comment section, and don't forget to tell me what you think about the story in the comment section. I'm talking about the ending, the whole story body, the hook and everything. If there is any way you want me to improve, I am ready to take correction. And please, I want to beg you, in case you haven't, please, if you haven't subscribed, I want you to go now and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, because every week we are dropping bangers. Yes, you heard it, bangers. And I cannot do this without your help. I cannot do this without your support. That's why I am begging you, please, biko ejo, biko, subscribe. Just turn on, it's free. Like, you don't need to pay to subscribe. It's free. Turn on the notification bell so that anytime I drop videos, you can always be the first person to watch it. Yes, and this is the face behind the channel. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for watching from the beginning to the end. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. Thank you, and remain blessed. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first person to get our story every 2 days. Yes, you heard that. Every 2 days we are dropping bangers on this channel. Thank you.